Hi there, and welcome to lesson number 5 in Rhino 6. This lesson we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about display modes. This is a very quick and cursory introduction to display modes. Later on in this series I will dive into customizing these modes and I'll show you a lot of the other things. If you're interested in learning more about the display modes, you can go ahead and check into the help menu and you can figure out how to customize things, or when I get them made, you can go ahead and find some of the more advanced settings. Okay, so there's, like anything else in Rhino, there's always 3 different ways to alter anything or give a command. In this case, the things we're going to want to alter are our viewports. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to double click on the perspective window, and the reason for that is it's just going to be a little bit easier to see what's going on. Okay, now the display modes can be found, and you may not even know what the modes are yet, but the display modes can be found in 3 different places. The first one is up here under the View tab. If I click on that, you'll notice right now there's a little blue dot and or black dot and a blue square next to something that says Wireframe. We have a few different modes here: Wireframe, Shaded, Rendered, Ghosted, X-Ray, Technical, Artistic, Pen, Arctic, and Ray Traced. Okay. Now a lot of these, depending upon how much data is in your model, how many lights are on, how strong your graphics card is, how new your machine is, a lot of these may tend to bog down your computer. Okay. Now this is one of my older machines because I have the recording equipment hooked up to it, so this will bog down from time to time, and I think that's a good thing because you can see, well, some of the limitations of working in these modes. Alright, so like I said, one place to find them is here under the View tab. Okay, another place to find them is up here under the Display tab. Right, if I click on the Display tab, I can hover over these icons, and these icons will show me lots and lots and lots of different things when it comes to looking at my model. Okay, the way I generally do it is I will click on this triangle right here and I will change my views here. Again, there's not a right or a wrong way, but for this particular time, let's go ahead and let's use the icons. Okay, so that's under the Display panel. Again, I generally, whenever possible, am working in the defaults. So for me, it's a little bit more cumbersome to go standard view over to my display and then pick one of these icons, right? Like I said, I'll generally be working in everything default. I'll click on this triangle and I'll make a quick change there. Okay, but let's go ahead and go back to display and take a look at these views. All right, now this one right here is in Wireframe, right? So Wireframe basically shows you and will highlight what are called the isoparms. So it's these little lines right here that tells me that I have a surface, right? But it's very difficult when you're working in Wireframe to tell exactly what's going on. It's not one that I like to do, or not one I like to use. This other option is Shaded. So if I click on Shaded, I now can tell if I have an open or a closed object, what my objects look like. I can also tell what layer they're on, right? And I can tell what layer they're on based upon this color for the most part. There are ways to change it, right? But if I look at this baby blue guy, I can tell that it's on this sublayer here. And I can also test that. I can turn off the light bulb and my baby blue object disappears, right? I can click on, another way to do it is I can click on this object. I can click on this red object and I'll look down here and I'll notice that that red object there is on the red layer, layer 1. If I click on the blue object, that blue object is on layer 3. If I look over here to the right, that's on layer 3. Okay, so the next type is, well, we've talked about shaded viewport. Let's look at shade. Not much of a difference. Now this next one is rendered. If I click on rendered, it'll take a while for it to make that change. There it is. And now, because I'm on an older machine, you'll notice I'm going to get a little lag from time to time. Okay, I don't particularly like working in the rendered mode. I can't tell what's behind things. In certain cases, if you're trying to move quickly, right? For example, I'm moving very, very quickly. My shadows disappear, so I have no sort of sense of, no depth perception. If I stop and move, the image will catch up and I'll see the shadows and I can work a little bit easier, right? So the next view is ghosted. And this is the one I prefer to work in. I like ghosted because I can see through my objects. I can also click on a curve or an isoparm in an object to select it, right? And I can also tell if my object is missing faces or things like that, right? Another view is this one here, the X-ray. Now the X-ray is not that much different from the ghosted, but you can see, for example, I cannot see any of the actual surfaces. All I can see is things that are behind this green guy will show up more or less like an X-ray. All right. Another one is technical. Technical I like. It looks like it was drawn with a blue or a green ink pen. You can see hidden lines, right? You can also tell, for the most part, what layer things are on. Okay, you can change these settings to make the technical look like it's all hand-drawn, and that's something we'll cover later. This is a really good one here, the pen viewport. I don't like working in this viewport, but if I wanted to do a quick, really quick image capture, I could just capture this the way it looks right now, and I could say, send that off to a client or my teacher or whomever. Okay. This next one is the artistic viewport, which is another pretty interesting one. You get sort of a watercolor effect. You can see some shade and some shadows. Okay. And when we start to get over here, all of these guys are basically some specialty tools that we're not going to be talking about today. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go here, and I'm going to go back to my ghosted view. Most of the tutorials that you see are going to look like this. They're going to be in the ghosted view. When I say most of the tutorials you see, the ones that I'll be creating. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the lesson right there, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks.